I'm Emma Kuster, Program Coordinator for the South Central Climate Science Center. We work closely with land and resource managers across the South Central United States. Today, I'm going to discuss what a changing climate means for land conservation and management. Any land, anywhere, is more than likely managed for a specific purpose, such as food, fiber, housing, forestry, or wildlife. Land manager decisions are often driven by goals and objectives for production, protection, recreation, or development. Land management generally acts to ensure that these objectives can be met in a sustainable, productive, and cost-effective manner. The term land manager describes a whole range of people, from agricultural producers to aquatic specialists. But today, we'll focus on those who manage and protect natural ecosystems, including wildlife. Managers use many different tools to meet their land use objectives. Balancing the health of wildlife and wild places with human needs such as recreation and energy development has never been an easy task. However, today's natural resource managers face unprecedented challenges as multiple stressors like climate change, invasive species, and population growth interact on the landscape in new ways. For example, in the rapidly growing southern Great Plains region, there is a demand for higher production agriculture, farming, and forestry. The I-35 corridor between Oklahoma City and San Antonio, Texas, is one of the fastest growing areas in the world. Land use and climate change force land managers in this region into a tighter and smaller corner. Much farmland in Oklahoma and Texas is now under concrete, reducing the amount of green space available for wildlife habitat, food production, and recreation. Sea level rise resulting from climate change has increased the erosion of coastal lands and inundation of coastlines with saltwater, ultimately changing the character of these ecosystems. Today, on the coast of Louisiana and Texas, we are losing coastal marsh at a rate of a football field per day. As a result, lands we once depended on for seafood, such as shrimp, oysters, blue crab, and fish, are under several feet of water and stressed by coastal development. Land managers are seeking ways to restore and better manage our coast. For example, coastal managers are using green methods of coastal management and restoration to expand our productive marshes inland in a sustainable way and connecting the uplands with the productive coastal zone. Farmers and ranchers own a large percentage of the land in the Southern Plains region, which means that they are critical to the success of conservation in the region. However, climate change is putting a lot of pressure on agricultural producers with warmer temperatures, more frequent droughts, and more intense wildfires. Under all this stress, rangelands and forests are more susceptible to insects and pests. As a result, critical habitat is being lost or degraded and water is scarce, resulting in competition between wildlife and livestock for water. That's why it's so important for agricultural producers and conservation professionals to work closely with river management officials to ensure that the needs of the wildlife, ecosystems, and people are all met. Another challenge for ecosystem managers that is made worse by climate change is invasive species. Invasive species can be plants, insects, or animals, but in any case, they are considered invasive when they outperform native species in an area. Their presence results in changes in the structure and the character of natural areas. We have to worry about things like cattle fever or the Zika virus because these diseases are spread by invasive insects. In addition, land managers are concerned about buffalo grass in Texas, a rapidly growing threat which builds fuel and adds to wildfire risk during drought. These invasive species have human health impacts as well as ecological ones. In fact, many ecological problems do. These new species and their spread must be included in the land management equation. Some can be beneficial, while others are not so welcome. In either case, land managers have to deal with constant change. I've just talked a lot about different ecological challenges that we face, but they are all connected. Environmental challenges have historically been managed with compartmentalized approaches. Although such approaches were successful in addressing part of the problem in the past, they are ill-suited to solve today's complex, interconnected environmental challenges. Sustainable solutions to these challenges should be holistic, integrating information from the human health sciences, ecological sciences, and social sciences. An example of such a holistic solution is the designation of green spaces. Generally, land managers agree that maintaining sufficiently large and intact patches of green lands, such as forests, farms, and ranches, is critical for giving species the space they need to migrate or adapt to climate and land use changes. Green spaces aren't just beneficial for wildlife, they can also support human health, recreation, and agricultural productivity. Today's land management challenges require a decision-making process driven by a problem formulation that includes A. Defining the problem and thinking holistically, B. Gathering, synthesizing, and making commonly available diverse information, C. Collaborating with multiple stakeholders to develop, assess, and test options, and D. Implementing, assessing, and adapting sustainable solutions. A systems-based approach can transcend our traditional methods, integrate diverse information and land use needs, and recognize linkages between our past land management operations and allow for innovation. Ultimately, this holistic approach will help land managers meet their goal of maintaining resilient ecosystems that support human health and well-being.